All right.
All right, man. Well, what's up? It's been a bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. First off, welcome everyone to the Fuzzy Vision podcast. I'm your host, Snide Scribe, non-canon, and with me
I'm Cancer Coon.
Yeah, with me is Cancer Coon. So it's been a while, dude. Like, I was sick. Sounds like you were sick.
It's just digestional issues, man. I've been just having like the worst shits.
Ooh.
Like in the past month. It's just I think my metabolism's changed.
Oh.
Because as mentioned before in the last episode, I am starting to like to work out, and so it's just like I don't know, I think my body's changing with it.
You eating differently?
No, I'm eating I actually no, that's a lie. I'm just eating a lot more like I get protein and like more vegetales, you know,
yeah.
and shit like that.
Ah, okay.
And just eating healthier and crap, and it's just like my body's just like, bro. So if I ever want to treat myself and have like a milkshake or whatever, or a glass of milk, my body's like, what the fuck? Or like if I eat too much, you know, chocolate or whatever, my body just screams at me. So
yeah, no, like after turned out Walter, my nephew, was sick for a while before Thanksgiving, so I ended up catching that while I was over there. Like, my entire family got sick at Thanksgiving. I caught the flu, which usually only takes me down for a few days, but makes me feel like garbage for, like, the remainder of the week. So.
Yeah, I've only gotten the flu when I get the flu vaccine, so I just stopped getting them.
Really? I feel crummy with the flu. I might have to get it from now on, actually.
Well, you're getting old.
Yeah. So. Thanks. Thank you.
No, you're not even that fucking old. You're fucking 30.
No, like, I still fight off, like, the flu pretty well, but it's reaching that point where, like, the interactions I have during this season tend to put me at risk for the flu real bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably just better I get it now and, like, you know, just take that feeling like that crummy feeling for a week, usually congestion, all that. Like, it never gives you a bad flu, but it gives you, like, kind of a cold, I guess.
See, I almost died how sick I got with the flu vaccine one year.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think because it gave me the infection, like a real infection. Oh, gotta turn off my fucking phone. Sorry about that.
Oh, no big deal.
Yeah. But yeah, it was so bad. Like I remember, this is before I had a car, so I was biking to school. It was really early in the morning, and I had to stop at a gas station because every time I breathed in, if I didn't have a cough drop in my mouth, it felt like I was breathing in razor blades.
Oh, God.
On my throat. And then my snot was orange and shit. And so, like, one day I woke up and I just couldn't get out of bed physically because I was just so weakened and destroyed. I had Afrin, I was like that for like 2 days straight. And if it went on for a third day, I would have gone into the hospital. But my body got over it, so I just didn't go.
Yeah, I've been dealing with just allergies now too. My nose has been bothering me for the past few days, so I think that's just because it's gotten colder too. Like now the vents are always on, which is just a pain in the ass.
See, it was really nice here because it got cold for a week. That was awesome. And
it got all the way down to 60.
Yeah, oh, it did. 60, and like one time it went to 50.
It's like 20 degrees right now over here.
Yeah, and today it was like fucking 80 and 90. I'm like, motherfucker, can we have winter for once?
Right?
Like, I remember when I was 16, like the nights would get to 30, and that was nice. But, I mean, bitter cold for me, but you know,
it's so cold. It's only like 70 degrees.
Yeah, well, you know what? I personally don't like shoveling snow.
Yeah, neither do I, because I have a bad back.
Yeah, and I don't.
I'm the only one who will do it.
I don't know how you fucking live there.
Right. All right. Speaking of oppressive living conditions,
and shitty communism,
right? So, Animal Farm, this week's movie. So, actually, like, because we chose this one. I think you chose this one, right? Or did I suggest it?
One of us did, because it was just like, all right, everyone else does these movies that everyone else knows about, so it's like, let's just choose to do these podcasts on these weird YouTube animation movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, a YouTube animated movie that exists? that we can get for free is Animal Farm.
Yeah.
So here we go, Animal Farm.
So,
and we don't want to do another Ralph Bakshi episode.
Yeah, of course. So Animal Farm, the animated version came out in 1954 by Hallis and Batchelor. I looked into the studio. They mostly did commercials, stuff like that. Not really recognized for most things. Mainly this movie. But this is actually the first animated feature film to come out of Europe. And while I was doing research on this, its background turned out to be a lot more interesting than I thought.
Really?
Yeah. So, it turns out this movie wasn't just thought of by John Hallis and, you know, over in the UK and everything. They didn't just get inspired to do this. It was actually mostly written and produced, well, funded production, by the CIA.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So, it turns out it was a counter-communist propaganda that they decided to route into the UK because it was a good place, like, because they've just dealt with, like, a lot of the communism and stuff that was going on over there. So it just turned out it was a good place to start.
Yeah, well, England was a lot more open to socialist ideas. I mean, it still is to this day, compared to America, because there wasn't that whole, you know, I guess, frontier culture and, like, American spirit type thing.
Well, I mean, I guess they got to be ahead on something.
Yeah, ahead. Okay. But, and also Karl Marx visited and lived in England for most of his life, and he was like, yo, England would be the best place. And also just the class differences in England were, I guess, a lot more noticeable than in America because it still had that rigid aristocracy. So that's why a lot of not hardcore, but a lot more socialist writings came out of England at this time.
Because I know this would, like, the book was written by George Orwell. I'm not sure if he lived in England at all. I know he was... He was Russian,
did live
right?
In England. No, he was English.
Oh, he was English?
His name...
Okay.
Yeah, his name was Arthur Blair. Well, he was an author, but, you know, that's not yet.
That was a pseudonym.
Yes, George Orwell was a pseudonym.
I actually never knew that.
Because, his publisher was like, you really shouldn't put your name on the socialist writing because you might get fucking killed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because back in the day, he released books like The Road to Wigan Pier.
1984.
Nope, that was at the end of his days.
Oh, that was...
I'm talking about early George Orwell.
Oh, okay.
He wrote books about the English working class at down and out in Paris and stuff like that, where he... Because he was born to, like, semi-aristocratic birth, but he was just like, fuck this, because he wanted to make real money. So, you know, he just lived among the poor just to see what it was like, and he wanted to, you know, represent them properly. So he was a hardcore socialist in some aspects, but other socialists didn't like him.
Okay, I didn't think he actually supported... I know he didn't support, like, the communist stuff that was going on. I didn't know he was a socialist, though.
He hated communism because he was a hardcore communist for a while, but then he went to Spain to fight the Spanish Civil War, and he joined, like, a communist front, but then he realized how awful they were because they would just kill anyone on the left and anarchists and anyone else instead of actually fighting the fascists.
Okay, I should probably, like, start this, too, by, like, I've never read a single George Orwell book. I haven't even read Animal Farm, so, like, my knowledge is purely on the animation side of this.
I have read Animal Farm in 1984, like most true Americans.
Right.
And people who like literature.
They had us read The Crucible and, like, Lord of the Flies in my high school and junior high.
Did I read The Crucible? The Crucible... Oh, fuck. Yeah, I did read The Crucible. Yeah. That was one that's like... the witches.
Yeah, it was the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, because I get confused with the Red Letter a lot of the time. But, I mean, same Puritan New English bullshit. But, you know... But yeah, no, he was definitely British.
Okay, well, good to know on that side. I thought he, like, moved to Britain from, like, Ukraine or something. I didn't know.
No, he was born in India, I believe, but
Oh.
I can personally send you some of my favorite essays on him, which I think are sometimes a bit more interesting than his actual fiction.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Like, again, I disagree with some of his earlier socialist stuff, but
I'm gonna go into that later.
Yeah, let's go into the movie. Okay.
One thing we should say before getting to the review here is we are gonna spoil the shit out of this movie, because you can't really talk. Yeah, you can't really talk about it without spoiling it. But if you want to watch it yourself, it is free on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's actually, like, public domain, but it's on YouTube.
Wait, so, it's free?
Yeah.
That's ironic.
Our tube.
Okay. Yeah, on our tube. Yeah. Not you tube. Okay.
On, how is it, Capital Tube, you know?
Yeah. But.
And,
yeah.
Okay, so starting out, like, the animation on this was, as I said, funded mostly by the CIA. It had the assistance, I believe it had the assistance of Hollywood animators, as far as I can tell. I can't find, like, any official stuff on that. But this was, like, a small studio, and there was supposedly, like, 80 animators who worked on this. You definitely noticed at the end of the credits, they are not true at all.
The amount of animators?
Yeah, I think the credits said there was only, like, 5 animators and, like, 2 directors or something like that, so...
Well, I mean, people talk about, like, US influences and stuff,
yeah.
But I mean, I personally wouldn't want my name attached to this back in the day, because I don't want to personally get killed by a fucking Soviet spy.
You know, good point. Maybe it was just really hidden that way. Because it would have been just kind of backlashed on. Sorry, kind of lost my train of thought, what I was going into. Oh, yeah, right. The animation, though, because, like, a lot of people praise this for being, like, England's Disney. They kept saying, like, the style of Disney in England, and I disagree.
Yeah.
It looks more like Chuck Jones, if anything. It's still really good Chuck Jones, but, yeah, it definitely has a lot of that jankiness, slow frames. It's got really gritty look a lot of times, and the grittiness works with what its message is. So
yeah, I mean, the book has a lot darker of an end.
Yes, we'll get to the ending on that, because I wanted to ask about that, but we might as well go in order on this.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like, no, the animation, while serviceable, like, it's good on the animals for the most part, but when it goes to Farmer Jones and stuff, it's a bit...
He looks like a troll.
Yeah, the humans don't really look human.
Yeah, they look ogreish. It's weird.
Which might be the point, because it's like humans from the animal's perspective, but I don't think it's that deep. And also just, it has its points, like Farmer Jones going up to blow up the mill.
Yeah.
Like, I did not like how it looked when he was walking up to the mill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought that was a really gross looking walk cycle.
It's mainly a problem with the perspective, I think, with how, like, with the on the hill. Weird, these animators seemed way better with animals than people for some reason. Maybe they were furries, who knows?
Well, the beatnik version of a furry.
Oh, yeah.
Just like how Ralph Bakshi was like the hippie version of a furry, but, I mean, I would not classify this movie as furry whatsoever.
It's not.
It's...
Then again, given a lot of the narrative going around the furry fandom, maybe?
The narrative.
Right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, you know what? You're really representing the proletariat when you buy your $2,000 fucking luxury item that you wear around twice a year. Yes, you are totally the working class. So, I just... Like, if anyone has a right to... With your fucking expensive iPhone, I'm sorry. Just
right.
I see that shit, I'm just like, oh, shut the... I'm fine with a lot of political beliefs, but like, you know, I'm not even talking about, like, if you're a socialist, whatever, you know, that's fine. But just when you're going on a fucking tirade, acting holier than thou and shit, and it's just like, bro, you gotta have some self-awareness.
Nah, I get what you mean there.
You goddamn tanky.
Hey, I don't have much. Like, I've worked hard for the shit I have. Really hard.
I know, but, you know, all I'm saying is furries having political hot takes on Twitter with the furry AVI, and I am guilty of this. I was, and I stopped because I realized how gay it was, is the funniest thing ever.
I personally try not to be too political because, well, for one, I don't know politics that well, first of all. I mean, I'll give my opinion on what I think of shit, but at the same time, I don't know the in-depth details to how these systems work and everything, so I'm not gonna, like, fucking... Here's the smart way, we should just switch to socialism, but not Nazi socialism, like...
Yeah, guys, come on. The Nazis were obviously socialists.
Well, I agree, but I don't think that just automatically makes socialism bad, but at the same time, okay... I was joking. Yeah, I might as well bring up, since we're talking about the whole politics of the movie right now, I'm just gonna address this, because I know it's about, communism, and, like, I think it was Stalin's
It's an
rule?
allegory.
Was it?
It's an allegory for the Russian Revolution.
I get that. Okay, so, one thing is, I know it's, like, dissing on communism, but I can't help but see a lot of parallels to our current late-stage capitalist fucking society at the moment. Like, it may be a different method, but it seems like we're reaching the same result. Like, I can't help but see that in a lot of the allegories of the movie.
Well, the same thing with 1984 has happened, where, I mean, anyone from a free market and capitalist, anarcho-capitalist, to the strictest hardcore liberal on Twitter, both cite 1984, because George Orwell in his later days, I think, created some classic political literature, and that, in a good way, shat on the worst systems and can be preached by anyone.
I get that, but at the same time, it's one of those things I'm starting to notice that I don't think it matters which system, it's gonna end the same way. Is what I'm kind of taking away from it.
Well, I don't want to get too much into political theory right now.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather talk about the movie.
Yeah, but that is talking about the movie.
Okay, I will say, though, with the American Revolution, there is a similar story of our rights being slowly taken away and altered. And there's so many Supreme Court cases where they're like, you have freedoms, but you really don't. And that's very apparent, and it's a clear message of your rights being slowly stripped away from you, that I think Orwell was... I mean, I know Orwell was trying to tell you in the book, being like, hey, this happened to the Russians, it's happening to the animals, do not let this happen to the Western nations.
Yeah.
Or any other nation or people in the world.
See, I guess my takeaway, because again, I only have the animated version to go off of, my takeaway was it didn't matter who got into a position of power in these systems, they would inevitably become exactly what they were rising up against.
Well, in no way was George Orwell politically apathetic. Because you're kind of giving me that vibe right now.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit, but...
I said, in no way was George Orwell politically apathetic.
Okay.
In that type of terms. He said, the movie was a warning against having noble ideas create a true revolution in which shit goes back to exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just...
I didn't think it was apathetic. I thought it was just, a warning to that kind of cycle.
Yeah, it is a warning, and it's in the book. It essentially ends with, once you have your rights taken away, good fucking luck trying to get them back.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen. But in the movie, it's a lot more hopeful.
Yeah,
with the pigs fucking dying. Because it's meant for kids, right?
Yeah, I didn't see too much of a difference in the ending. Maybe I'm just... Because I didn't read it. I read the synopsis on it.
Well, Well, I might be remembering wrong. I didn't.
Yeah, no, like, it sounded like it reached kind of the same conclusion. The only difference is, though, that Benjamin, who is the main character of the movie, we'll get to that, he manages to get all the animals to rise up against them again. The book doesn't have that. It's basically like, oh, you just have a new oppressor who's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more pessimistic because, I mean, given the time it was written, as well as like a lot of older dystopias, like 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, it's about the inevitability of these systems being able to control your entire life. Fahrenheit 451 was written around the same time during the 50s.
Oh shit, I thought that was written much later.
No, Ray Bradbury wrote it in the 50s because he saw a woman with like headphones one day and he was like, oh shit, the world is doomed.
Alright. So, the movie. Where do we even start with the actual movie? It's coming on winter, I think, is the beginning of the movie. But, like, the farm, which is, what is it called? It is,
Something Jones Manor.
Yeah, Manor Farm. That was
Manor
it.
Farm.
Yeah,
Manor
owned
Farm.
by Farmer Jones, who is this troll-looking of man. He looks like a zombie.
A drunk. Oh, there's actually tons of symbolism I want to get into.
Oh, go ahead.
So let's go into it.
So, Farmer Jones is a total drunken asshole who clearly abuses the animals on the farm and withholds food from them, treats them like garbage, throws bottles at his dog and everything like that.
Do you want to know why he was an alcoholic and why alcohol was viewed so badly?
Go ahead.
In Russia during the time, the Tsars owned the alcohol industry.
Okay.
And what would do, because, you're depressed, you're a Russian, and the reason why the revolutionaries were like, yo, fuck alcohol in real life and in the movie, was because they were viewed it as a system of class oppression through dependency of alcohol, like the modern day opioid crisis in America, and so they were kind of like an abolitionist movement, the Bolsheviks were, because they wanted to take down vodka in Russia.
Okay, so wait, was it a market that was being, like, held over the people, or did, like, mostly the aristocracy, like, kind of have alcohol?
The aristocracy would sell alcohol to the people, and the aristocracy owned the alcohol plants.
Okay.
And so that kept the Russians down. But then Stalin was like, fuck, I need money. And I want to sell this stuff. I want to sell stuff to other nations so we can have money. We're bringing vodka back, cheaper than ever. And so, kind of represented when, the pigs started drinking.
Okay.
Because also, you got to keep in mind, the revolution happened in the beginning, almost the beginning of the 1920s, and in America we had the abolition as well. But people back then weren't like, it wasn't as laughable as it is today.
Oh, of course.
As well as Russia was a very poor fucking rural landscape and country back then, before Stalin's 5-year plans or the windmills.
Okay, because I noticed that comes up. That's a subtle symbol that comes up several times through Animal Farm is the 5-year plans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure like what Stalin's was. It's basically making a bad message on that, which I want to get into after the revolution, because we're gonna skip forward a little bit, because like the animals. I want to go into Old Major. Oh, go ahead, yeah, because after Farmer Jones, like Old Major like does the whole meeting. You go ahead with that.
All right. Well, he can represent anyone, really. He can represent John Locke in the American Revolution, or he could represent, Marx, Lenin, whoever, like some noble revolutionary figure, or like Nelson Mandela, if you want to go South Africa, right?
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna give some context real fast in the middle of this, because Old Major, by the way, is the oldest animal on the farm as far as the text says on it. He is the
And
oldest
therefore the
animal on the
wisest.
farm, the wisest one. He's a pig as well. He gives a lot of the message, revolt, rise up, my fellow animals. He addresses the pigs that they're
There
all
will be
gonna...
no strawberries and cream.
Yeah. That line wasn't in the movie.
No, that's Fritz.
The hens get their eggs taken by the farmer. Not Old Major, not Benjamin. Boxer, who is this mighty horse. His strength is abused and used frivolously. The pigs face death and everything like that. So he raises all those points and manages to get the animals to rise up right before dying. Actually, he dies that night, and the next day, the farmer forgets to feed them in his drunken state and everything. The animals break into the food stores, which, I see the symbolism there. That's where I was saying this late stage capitalist thing. I'm seeing a bit of a similarity. People getting things withheld from them, little by little, pay-wise. So, yeah, but you go on with the Old Major there.
Well, Marx died before there was a socialist country in existence. John Locke died before America was America, I think. And just, again, any revolutionary, any philosophical figure, or even Lenin, even though Lenin led the revolution.
Yeah.
Just a noble figure who dies far too early. And that, or just any philosophical thinker that would inspire a revolution that's just not another king to begin with.
One thing this brings into thought, because you mentioned, all these different revolutionaries and everything, is Russia just been, a cycle of revolts over and over again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, throughout most of its history. The word Slav is from... That's where we get slave from.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and Russia throughout most of its history... Now, this is also interesting. This goes into Russian history. So anyway, throughout Russia most of its history, it was, just czars after they expelled the Golden Horde and Ivan the Terrible. It was just a long line of czars. Pretty stable, but kind of like a backwards European nation that other European nations kind of look down upon. So, anyway, what I was gonna say
czars
was...
were just kings, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just meant Caesar.
Okay.
Because they viewed themselves as a last Rome after Byzantium fell.
Yeah, I've never looked into how they were
Constantinople fell.
different, because I think they have prime ministers now, I believe, or is it,
There's no czars anymore.
There's
They
no
all
czars
died.
anymore, I know that. I imagined that they were, emperors, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Because it was an empire that they...
Yeah.
Russia only... the Russian people only represent a very... they're the majority, right? But there's tons of other nationalities that live in Russia that have been subjugated for hundreds and hundreds of years.
It's a massive fucking country.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the biggest land masses on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
11 fucking time zones.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so that rule. So one of the rules that Animal Farm has is no animal shall kill another animal.
Yes.
This is very interesting. Catherine the Great, a Russian czar.
I've heard of her.
Now, she outlawed the death penalty back in the 1800s. And for a while, for the longest time, even in the czar's prisons and the socialists would be captured, they would not kill. There was no death penalty for the most part.
So they just held prisoners forever.
Yeah. And you could starve yourself as political protest. You could do a lot of things. I've been reading the Gulag Archipelago, which talks a lot about Stalin rule.
Okay.
Stalin, as you know, killed a lot of fucking people.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't know how directly that is, but I thought a lot of his his system killed people. I'm not sure how he killed people.
Well, through agencies, Gulag, direct.
So hit squads.
Hit squad, yeah.
Okay.
People coming to your house middle of the night, just shooting you. assassins. Like, he kept trying to kill the guy of Yugoslavia. Just anything you can think of. Yeah. I mean, that was just a direct killing. If you want to talk about starvation, then, you know, we can go into the Holodomor and everything like that, which also played a part in some of the things in this movie. But it's just, this movie is we're already at half an hour, so I want to shut the fuck up. All I'm gonna say is this movie is very symbolic and very deep, and just please, by God, know it.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I definitely need to do my own research. I need to read the book ever since watching this, because I get it's different. We mentioned the animals rose up. They quickly are led by a pig named Snowball?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trotsky, IRL.
Oh, who's this?
He'd be... Snowball is representative of Trotsky.
Trotsky. Yeah, I was reading a little bit on that. The weird thing I find with that, because, like, they immediately go into, like, almost a golden age for this farm, actually. Everyone's working together. The farm is prosperous for the spring, and he starts educating them. I'm guessing that was a big one for Trotsky, was he wanted to educate, like, the rest of his people and everything like that. The weird thing I found about this is, because, like, we see that Napoleon's also he's another pig. He's trying to create a secret army. Oh, wow, okay, now I see the Stalin thing. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Shit. That's very direct. But while Snowball is, like, planning a windmill and all of this, he's trying to create a better society for the animals. The problem I have with this is, when I was doing my research on this, this was actually changed a lot by the CIA's rewrites and everything, because they wanted Snowball's plan to seem like it would inevitably be disastrous. And I'm not really sure how. I'm not sure if you know better on that.
I mean, again, I haven't read the book since I was 14. But I mean, I know George Orwell probably wouldn't have done that. Because he did. He fought. He was trained by the Soviets to fight fascists.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the book or anything. Like, I'm just getting getting your take on it, because, like, supposedly the CIA felt like Snowball's plan, like, originally was too sympathetic in the book, so they rewrote it. They wanted it to seem like it was going to be a disastrous plan. I just don't see how it was being shown that way in the movie. And maybe I'm just missing it. Maybe because
it was just so shortened or whatever, or, like, his blueprints were too elaborate or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, I wasn't sure if maybe, like, you noticed it and I missed it.
The education was disastrous.
It became very clear that there were people who were getting more educated than others.
Because, I mean, the pigs really represent the middle class, essentially.
Yeah.
Taking over and becoming their own aristocracy, and red princes in China is what they were called. Etc., etc.
Yeah, you were talking about the laws, though, so I guess a good one to go into this, then, because we've mentioned two of them. Yeah, because when...
I just want to say, quick side gesture, I love the cute baby duck in this.
Of
it's
course.
Yellow. It's very cute.
Yeah. I love Boxer in this. And
Boxer's cool.
It's kind of clear what his fate's going to be pretty early, and I don't want to talk about that when we get to it, but when the Snowball takes over, he enacts 5 rules for, like, the animal laws, and it was no animal shall sleep in a bed, which later gets changed. No animal shall drink alcohol, which later the pigs clearly break. Whiner, was it? Squealer? Was the
Squealer,
one? Yeah, he was the first one to break it. He was a total coward.
A.k.a. Pravka.
Yeah. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad, which immediately brings controversy.
Well, wings count as legs.
Yeah,
so.
Which, that's really smart of the movie, because it is how they move. So, I mean, that makes sense. No animal shall kill another animal, which is also, by the way, changed shortly in, not shortly, but
without cause.
Yeah, without cause, written in blood by the animals.
All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
Yes, all animals are equal is the first one, and then it's changed to more equal than others later on. Which is another one that... Like I said, I keep feeling like there's parallels to late-stage capitalism, but that's probably me reading too much into it.
Inequality... that's way too much into it, because in terms of American thinking, and it was about the equality and opportunity, because you're born equal, you're not guaranteed a happy life. But in terms of all the other amendments, yes, that's very close. Like, you can have free speech except when it presents a clear present danger to society, and in war it can be taken away completely, and that is in the Constitution. You can't, not in the Constitution, but the government will enact on that.
See, I always hate that. I'm sorry to interrupt. I always hate when people bring up the well, you can't scream fire in a crowded building, and that's just not equivalent to, whenever they're trying to smash someone's freedom of speech, that, they disagree with what this person says, they always bring that example, and it's yeah, you can't do that because you suddenly endanger everyone around you when they panic. That's a total different result from talking down to the government, or talking, or disagreeing with this stuff, or, saying that people have the right to say their stupid racist bullshit or whatever. It's not the same.
Well, the Supreme Court does defend, most of the time, political speech, but speech that presents a clear and present danger to society, and that was created to shit on a socialist in New York. They were sir, you cannot speak your socialist garbage, you're going to jail. And he was First Amendment, they're no.
Yeah, I feel that's just some cheap play that they're all well, you're putting yourself in danger.
You're putting society at large in danger because you are an anarchist and you're going to be spreading anarchist messages. You must be going down, which if you're an American, that should probably piss you off.
It should. The freedom of speech was made on the idea of anarchy.
Not anarchy, but basically liberalism.
Like I said, because I've never seen anarchy as an actual political system. It is basically a transitional system, because you need to enact anarchy to overthrow the current system that's in place.
It's just what happens when there's conflict.
Yeah.
Really. But what I was gonna
Sorry.
Oh yeah, firearms. That's a good one. The Second Amendment was created. It's gonna be controversial, but
go ahead, be controversial.
To have the equivalent to the government, and as you've seen, people are arguing, and people will get red flag lawed.
Yeah.
Against, you have a 30-round magazine, but guys with 30-round magazines wearing full body armor, gas masks, and fucking tanks are gonna come to your house because you own a rifle that can only shoot when you pull your finger.
Yeah. We just do not have the same might as the military anymore. We're talking about a law that was written in a time when, a 3-barrel musket was, the top of technology?
A cannon was.
I guess cannons. Yeah, people did own cannons.
And warships. But it's just, if you look at American history, and you can very clearly see an equivalent to these Enlightenment idea rights falling away, and in a lot of communist countries, in these revolutionary idea countries where the status quo is being questioned, and people are demanding more rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
But in America, life, liberty, and property.
Yeah, we're comparing this to now, and like I said, I kept making the the current system, like late stage capitalist system. I don't think that was intended at all. I'm gonna just clearly say that. It's just I'm seeing parallels now, is what I'm saying. So
the movie definitely not. The book a little bit, because it was. I mean, Animal Farm was extremely popular in America for that reason, because people were like, "Fuck." First of all, fuck commies, Lamau, high five, and second, they were like, shit.
Oops. Done fucked up.
Yeah.
So
we made it stinky.
Yeah, after everything's going pretty cool, like everyone's being educated, people have plenty of food, Snowball tries to present his new plan, and I talked about, like, I don't understand why this was seen as bad. He wants to build a windmill that will provide power to everyone. He makes the big promise that, like, people are gonna have to work harder, we're gonna have to eat less, but by the end of my plan, you will all have everything you need. You guys will be happy. You guys will be prosperous. And the weird thing I found about this too, when they're trying to say that this is a negative aspect, he opens up for a vote for this as well. So that's where I'm like, I don't understand why, like, Snowball was supposed to be...
CIA not approving democracy?
Right?
Huh.
So it's weird.
Who would have thought?
It's weird that it was supposed to have that intended thought. But, like, upon this, Napoleon sees his chance. Not as much as sees his chance, he overthrows Snowball violently, like, at the end of that speech, when he saw people were supporting him, which I'm amazed Boxer didn't just crush his skull, but we've seen that Boxer's a kind, gentle person. So...
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah, so Napoleon sends his Gestapo. No, that's the wrong word.
What was
Stalin's?
really revolutionary. That was
what was Stalin's version? I forgot.
KGB.
Yeah. He basically sends the KGB on them, which are a bunch of dogs that, like, he rose from puppies to, like, listen to him. And they kill Snowball. And immediately
real life, it was an ice pick.
Yeah. I imagined it would be. Usually is.
Usually is an ice pick. That's my favorite method of execution in Mexico.
Yeah, it's my favorite as well. I mean, I prefer hammer, but...
Nail. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, I'm just kind of, like, giving the general idea of what's going on. But yeah, Napoleon, like, steals this idea right from, like, under, like, Snowball. I'm amazed that people didn't notice it. They're dumb animals, so what are we supposed to do? And he starts, like, bringing Snowball's plan to fruition in the most hostile, sped up, cruelest way. Like, the animals are damn near starved to death. We see Boxer works from day to night, like, fucking morning to night, along with Benjamin, who I love Benjamin, by the way. He's like an obnoxious whiner of a character, but I do love him.
The soul of the Russian people represented in ass.
Yep, exactly. I guess it's meant to be like that backbone, essentially, is what it is.
Yeah, and then Boxer is like the noble aspects of any people.
Yeah. Boxer is like the entire working class. Like, I think that's what he's supposed to represent. Like, just how they're abused and how they're used.
He represents the noble aspects of the everyman.
Yeah.
Because George Orwell loved that a lot, especially if you read The Road to Wygan Pier.
Okay.
I mean, no, he talks about how much he loves the English and, like, English culture and the British people themselves.
Yeah.
But there are some negative aspects. The sheep, for example. And the other animals who just blindly follow.
Yeah, because, that's the thing. Like I said, it's weird how quickly they just accept Napoleon. And it's probably out of fear, granted. Because there are, like... Yeah, Animal Farm doing so well kind of gets the attention of this businessman. Snivel, was it?
Something representative of something else.
Yeah, who does trade, and immediately we start seeing the exact plights that the animals were going through with Jones start to repeat themselves as the hen's eggs are taken away.
just look at any any communist country within the past 100 years.
Yeah. No,
like that's, or fuck it. Yeah, no, but mostly communist countries in the third world.
Yeah. No, like, again, the movie has an interesting cycle to it. That's where I was saying, it goes in a cycle, and I thought that was a lot of its message, because, like, the hens are quickly the ones to begin revolting again, and that gets stomped out.
Well, there's a very popular political theory.
Okay.
And it's, once a country has a major revolution, it is extremely hard for a second revolution to happen.
Yeah, because the guy who did that, who's now in charge, probably led that revolution.
Yeah, and also if one revolution gets stomped out, it is also phenomenally hard to rise up again. Yeah. So, like, for example, let's say America had a revolution right now, and it fails. Good luck, but good luck, DC. Anyway, what I'm saying is, if it gets stomped out, America would not have another revolution for like 500 years. Yeah. Because it would be so utterly crushed and all of your rights would be taken away. That there's no way in hell that you could ever possibly do it again. Which kind of goes into this again.
Yeah, again, where I'm seeing current, like, again, I'm reading current symbols in this, because it's like that now. People talk about starting these revolutions and everything, and I'm not going to do the joke and can't start lawnmower or whatever, you know. It's mostly the fact you can't revolt. The system's put in place now. You do not have the power to revolt. Like, you could protest. Protest is great, but like, people to actively revolt today, I don't think can happen.
No. I have to disagree with you there.
Okay. Disagree with me then. It's fine.
Hong Kong. They do not have a single firearm. And they are revolting.
Yeah, and how is that going for them?
In terms medium. It's lukewarm right now. Yeah. Chile, also lukewarm right now.
Okay, Chile, Chile's a good point.
But with America and a lot of other, and like, South Africa or a lot of these other nations, South Africa thankfully was able to revolt without vicious revolution required. Yeah. I really think that if there was America could have another one, just based on the geography and the economic systems in America and the cultural influence of it. It would be fucking hard and it'd be awful. It would last 30 years, and by God, let's please not. I'm not advocating.
No,
for it.
I'm not either. It'd be actually, though,
it'd be brutal, but I think it could happen.
I think a problem with that, though, is any revolution, because, like, just seeing how media is working right now, as well as, like, you know, just watching discourse on Twitter and in public and everything like that. The problem is with any revolution is it's going to be against ourselves. It's not going to be against the people in power. That's why I feel like our power, like, in America, our power of protest is a lot stronger than our power to revolt.
Well, the Russian Revolution is a good example, and the Spanish Revolution is a good example of what happens when you have so many different political ideologies at war with each other against the regular government. Yeah. Because, I don't know if you know this, but the Russian Revolution, there were anarchists, there were basically libertarians nowadays, there were the Bolsheviks, and there were the whites fighting each other. Okay. And in Spain, same thing. There were the fascists, the liberals, the Republican government, the socialist government, and the communists sent by the Soviet Union and trained by the Soviet Union.
Okay, so I guess it's more common than I expected it was, because usually it seemed like a lot of revolts are against one class to another.
I mean, again, the left did eat itself in Spain and was completely destroyed by the fascists. Okay. But this and in the Soviet Union, the right completely destroyed itself and was killed by the leftists. So
speaking of destroyed, because we're getting like later in this. We got about 10 minutes to go.
Fuck.
So I'm moving forward. We're having a fun one on this one.
Yeah, God, no, we can talk for hours on this one, man.
Because again, like after that weasel market dude starts like doing trade, and Napoleon starts oppressing the animals and everything. Like there's a second there's a second attempt on the farm, and during this
World War II.
Jones is not allowed two.
As a joke, I just said World War II essentially.
Oh, okay. I was questioning what exactly like that one was going into. I figured it was a war that it was expressing.
Well, most of the other wars that the Soviets fought were invading other fucking countries.
Yeah. But yeah, during this whole conflict and everything, animals get hurt and everything, especially Boxer. This is a big deal point of the story. But they managed to get rid of all the farmers, and Jones, who wasn't allowed to join in trying to take back his farm because his time was done. I'm guessing that's another metaphor for a certain leader. But he blows up the mill, which I will be honest, at first I thought that was meant to represent like Chernobyl, but then I discovered Chernobyl was like way later than I thought it was.
What the fuck, you moron?
I thought Chernobyl was like in the 50s
Tsar
or some
Nicholas
shit.
II fucking went into Chernobyl in the 1980s.
No, I'm talking about like the explosion of the windmill, like representing that, but I didn't realize Chernobyl was like way later. So
yeah, I mean,
but
bro.
I figured it had to be a symbol for something that happened within there, but maybe I'm just looking too much into it.
Literal fucking giant bombs destroying Russia.
Okay. I mean, the war, yeah, sure, all that.
It's also not even. It could just be surface level. It might not even just be like. It could just be a symbol of. I mean, you got these fuckers who have lost power. They have nothing to lose. Why do you think they'd show any sympathy toward you?
That's true. Because, yeah, they immediately have to start rebuilding.
Because as much as I love fucking going into it and overinterpreting bullshit, like...
I'm just admitting my own naivety is all.
Sometimes the grass is just green.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a blue dot.
Yeah. Miss English teacher.
No. I was searching for a symbol for it, but yeah, maybe it was directly just a part of the whole war effort and everything that they were just still destroyed, and even when they won.
Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, Russia's male population is still recovering.
Did not know that.
Like in terms of like their population, if they hadn't fought in World War II, holy fuck! Like you can just see from that generation, fucked. So many people were not born.
Jesus,
because of that war.
All right.
Like the Soviet Union got more casualties than like than all the other allies combined. Sorry, just fucking human waves.
Yeah. But yeah, we're getting near the end of this. It's rebuilding and everything. Boxer's leg gets worse through this too, and you see that he's getting weaker. And there's an incident where he gets like seriously hurt too. Everyone thinks he's dead for a moment, and like this.
And he gets sold to glue.
This part is probably like the most emotional like part I get in the film, because it just angers me. Like, and again, this is me reading like modern day shit into a movie that like didn't intend it, or maybe it did in some way, because like this was the miners and stuff like that. I'm sure like this was like the miners' generations and everything like that, but you were used up and you were done. Once you couldn't make them money anymore, you were gone. And
it's literally selling out your own people.
Yeah,
again.
and it infuriates me, like, because I realize, and I'm gonna like reflect a little bit here. I realize I'm in a pretty like fortunate position. I see how easily I could have just been discarded because they tried to discard me. But the amount of people like veterans and workforce people, like people who've worked in companies for like 30 years and stuff like that, who just suddenly get sacked so they don't have to pay them their fucking retirement and shit. I just saw all of that in this moment where they're basically just selling their people for glue. The movie outright says it, where the pigs take a toast with bourbon that they bought with Boxer's life, and it was just so infuriating because like all of that flashed into my head, just all those people.
I mean, like I said, George Orwell's last 2 books, Animal Farm and 1984, are fucking masterpieces.
Yeah, again,
in terms of
it's where I take a lot of that like late stage capitalist stuff, because it's definitely, it is a big thing now with late stage capitalism of like, well, if you're not worth anything to us, then you're just garbage, you're trash, we're tossing you aside. And it's just infuriating to see it like done in such a in your face way in this movie.
Yeah, it is meant for kids in some aspect to be like, hey kids, fuck the system, am I right?
Right.
Wanna know why your dad got fired from the mines? Well, he can't pick up heavy thing anymore.
Yeah.
And George Orwell always. This would be just my final tangent because it is getting late.
Yeah, go ahead.
But George Orwell has always cared for the downtrodden.
That's very clear.
And the unequal and the inequality of society. But he also cared a lot about personal freedom.
What was his statement? I wasn't it like restriction of any speech is restriction of freedom?
Somewhat.
Like,
I don't know. Just in terms of applicability, I will say that this is an absolute masterpiece of history, and I think George Orwell has a better view on history than most authors, and he has created possibly some of the best dystopian work and best English fiction that has ever existed.
Yeah. I mean,
in 2 short novels.
Yeah, regardless of the source that like funded and brought this whole picture up, it still has a lot of significance. Like I said, I took away a completely modernist thing out of it, and animations do that a lot for me. Like, it may not be their intended message, but I tend to still reflect on it on its current time as well as the time that it was made. And I feel like this says a lot for our current time as well.
This says a lot about society.
Yeah.
And, okay, Kami, but just also be warned, I guess, that you really have to think shit through before you have a revolution. Otherwise, it will be exactly the same, but even worse.
Yeah. So we both recommend this. Go watch it. And I guess read the book. I'll probably do that soon myself.
Yeah. Good movie. Weird animation.
Yeah, all the voice acting is done by one guy.
Really?
Yeah. Maurice Denham.
Even the chickens?
He did most of the the narrator was a different voice from the guy who did all the animal sounds as well as the animal voices, and that was all Maurice Denham.
Fucking legend.
Yeah, I don't recognize it. Like, I looked at his IMDb. I don't recognize him from anything else, so I just thought it was relevant to say. Also, the movie apparently didn't do too well for its time. It took like 15 years to recoup its budget. But hey, it was a government dime, so...
And that's why it's free on YouTube, kids.
Right? You can buy DVDs. It's on Internet Archive. It's on YouTube. There's no reason not to watch it. I'll probably put a link below. And I guess, with you, Cancer-kun, happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
So
Juden.
No, I thought so what are you planning on doing? I thought we'd probably just kind of give our next weeks for this.
Hanukkah, I'm gonna bring my girlfriend over to my parents' house. I'm gonna fucking make some goddamn latkes.
Awesome.
We're gonna fucking give some gifts, say some Jewish prayers. Light a burning Hitler effigy.
Sounds
typical
good.
Jewish traditions.
Just make sure he's not in a T-pose.
Yeah. Oh fuck. So my final thing I'm gonna say before I ask you what you're gonna do, kids, make sure you kill your local commissar / capitalist overlord / fascist.
Yes, be
dictator.
sure to rise up.
Yeah, again, rise up. Just do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Right. Make your name in the history books. Come on. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Besides your
Read
life?
Che Guevara.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you gonna do, Snide?
I'm mostly gonna continue working. Today's drawings was mostly for trying to get ready for a casting call. Cause I am getting sick of this video not being done. So I am trying to make a plan right now on how to achieve that.
A 5-year plan?
Just about.
It's been fucking 5 years. It's been almost 5 years, yeah.
10 weeks. I'm gonna try for 10 weeks. Yeah, just need to draw up the characters. Script's pretty much done. I just need to break it down into segments, probably rewrite it. I need to find someone to bounce shit off of, though, because I think I'm just so in my head right now with it that's like just kind of halting the whole process,
Yeah.
Aside from that, I am starting to stream, trying for daily at like 5 or 6 o'clock. And that's about my plans. We are also going to do another Fuzzy Images next week.
Vision.
Yes, Fuzzy Vision podcast next week. We doing Frosty or are we doing Rudolph?
Fuck, that's a good choice.
I'm gonna leave it up to you. Frosty or Rudolph?
You know what? Rudolph had more significance to me as a child.
Alright, and we're gonna have Morbid Sanity with us on that one.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this should be good. This will be out. Well, you're listening to it now, but yeah, I'm thinking of trying to do this weekly. If you're cool with that, Cancer, we'll see how well that goes.
I'm fine. I
think I just need to be pushed to do something on a weekly basis at this point.
You fucking fat, lazy old man.
I know. Okay, but that's the plan. That's our 5-year plan, guys.
5-year plan.
And then you can rise up against us.
Yes.
Alright, all you beasts and vermin, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was informative. I hope it was fun. We will catch you next week.
Bye.